Oh, there's a lot of foam in here, man. Oh, jeez. Something from Target. But, okay, boom. I have two shadows. I ordered two. So, I now have the two shadows out of the packaging. I know a lot of you are probably confused. Why do you have two? Now, when you order something on Target, you need to pay like a certain amount of money to even have the item delivered. So instead of me buying one shadow, I decided to get two. And I'm kind of happy I did, because I saw some photos online that some of these guys can look pretty goofy. And just from the bag, the two shadows I got look pretty damn goofy looking. Now, I'm going to open both of these because I'm not really much of a collector. So owning a sealed shadow doesn't really, entertain me like that. So here's the first shadow out of the box, and how he looks. Mine looks pretty damn goofy, as expected. The eyes are very weird. I don't think you can move the eyes on shadow. No, you can't. I'm trying my best to move them. I can't really move his eyes. Oh boy, that's not good. In this day and age, the fearless year of shadow, these guys are going to become super common because it's movie merch. Like, you can still find movie 2 everywhere. Okay, yeah. So after getting these both out of the box, this is what I was very much worried about when I first ordered these online, was having some that look better than others. And this shows. This shadow looks significantly worse than the one over here. They both have their problems, honestly. It does suck, because I was hoping to get like at least a good one. Jack's got to fix that quality control. If you guys are watching this, Jax, please fix the quality control on these shadows. So the box is really nothing too crazy. It's the same little renders we've seen on literally every Sonic Movie 3 merch. The only real main difference on this box is the back, which shows a prototype for Shadow, which looks very much different from the actual Shadow that we ended up finally getting. And before I completely end it off, here's what it looks like next to the Sonic 2 box. For those who are wondering, yeah, for some strange reason, the Sonic 2 one is actually taller and a little bit wider. Okay, now let's stop beating around the bush. Let's just get straight to the main character now. Shadow the Hedgehog, this new 13-inch Shadow plush. And wow, not much to be said. Most of what I said on the small Shadow applies to this big one. Obviously better because they put more detail on him compared to the small guy. The body is the exact same as the small one in practically every way. The spikes are practically exactly the same. He still has the 3 spikes, but this time they're stuffed. The tail is the same thing as well. He's pretty much just this guy with the face. Besides, it's good. I love the fluffy texture that all the Deluxe Sonic plushes have, and they didn't cheap out on the fabric to make it different. All the quills and everything is super fluffy and overall nice. I like that. I really like that about this plush. The eyes are slightly off. Mine is a bit goofy. I know a lot of people have goofy looking shadows, and mine is one of them. But I do think the eyes are nice, and they definitely look better than Sonic's in my opinion. They don't follow you around like the Mario movie ones, but personally I kind of prefer things like that. Smile is also a black line instead of how it is on Sonic, where it uses that more, this. I very much like this look a lot more. Another thing with the eyes is that they actually stitched on the little red bits for the eye, just like how it is on the regular Shadow, which I think is pretty cool. I like that. You can actually see it. It's not hard to see. It's right there. You can see it. Same thing goes for the stitching on his arms and his legs. It's all there. He has all of this detail. And the printing is also pretty good. The printing is just better on the Deluxe Shadow compared to the small one. And even the bottom of the shoes has slightly more detail. Now I guess I get to nitpicks, I guess. If I had to nitpick on this plush of Shadow, The only things I don't really like is the fact that he still doesn't have any fingers, just like the small one. I don't even think Sonic had fingers. And I guess the red on him is a bit more of like an orange color, especially when you compare it to the small Shadow. It's very noticeable that this guy's a bit more orange than he is red. Or maybe my ass is just colorblind, but he said is that the chest fur isn't as fluffy as it is on this one. Now I know a lot of people prefer this over the old one, but I'm personally a fan of this style. Even though it's not accurate, I do like how it's super fluffy, and this would make this the ultimate fluffy Shadow the Hedgehog, which that's a bit disappointing, but it still looks nice. This is one of the best ways I've seen a company actually give Shadow the chest fur, actually. I just kind of wish it was fluffy as well, but, you know, hey, it's still good. Also, something I noticed about this Shadow is the tag isn't colored compared to how it is on the small Shadow. Now, you already know small Shadow and big Shadow. Small Sonic and Shadow. But now it's time for the real comparison, which is the 13-inch Deluxe Sonic that came out a couple years back. Yeah, I remember making a couple years back making this video, and I still got this guy. Don't bother with the re-released plush if you already own this one. He is exactly the same. There's literally no difference. Do not buy it. I think Shadow scaled pretty well. Obviously, Shadow is just better than Sonic. The eyes look better. The face looks better. And Shadow is actually thinner than Sonic, so he's not as fat. So, honestly, Shadow is just, in my opinion, just better than the Sonic. But this is what the Sonic and Shadow looks like for those who are curious. Still think that Shadow is the superior plush. They didn't even update him for the third spike as well, so... Also, I never noticed how far apart Sonic's eyes was until I compared them to Shadow. I know we're not done with movie Sonic. We also got the Prime Sonic because he's also a 13-inch plushie from Jax. And another... Honestly, I think the Prime Sonic looks better next to the movie Shadow than the movie Sonic. The only other Deluxe plush I think Jax made was 9. And comparing him to 9, which he's still in the box for now, I think Shadow and 9 scale honestly really weirdly. I think Tails is supposed to be shorter than the rest of them, but oh well, you win some, you lose some, I guess. This video was pretty short, but I mean, it makes sense. It's a Deluxe plushie of Shadow. What you see is what you get, and it's a good plush of Shadow. If you want to pick him up, go ahead. He's literally 20 bucks. These have also been showing up at Target location, so you could check your local Target to see if they have this Shadow in there. Wish I could have did that for mine and probably could have saved me the time on finding an ugly Sonic. But hey, you know, an ugly Shadow, I guess, if you will. No, this is just an extra segment, but I wish Jax did more for the Sonic movie plushies compared to how they did for the figures. They made unique figures for Sonic 3. They're very much different from the Sonic 2 ones in a lot of ways. And I really wish the plushes were the same thing, where they made unique patterns for the Sonic 3 ones, instead of just re-releasing them as is, because most of them kind of just feel like, why would you even want to buy these again? If you already own the Sonic 2 ones, just don't even bother with the Sonic 3 ones. The only thing that's worth buying is Shadow, which I think, as a whole, all the Shadow merch we got for Sonic 3 from Jax is honestly pretty damn good. Like, in all things considered, the plushies are good, the figures are good. Shadow, just pretty damn good. I'm a big fan of Shadow. But the one thing I don't like is the fact that Sonic was just re-released. No changes. And I also kind of wish we could have gotten more plushies. Now, I was at least hoping they would have made a Deluxe Knuckles, a Deluxe Tails. Those guys could have looked pretty cool. Maybe even like a Deluxe Super Sonic. I mean, Build-A-Bear made a movie Super Sonic. I think that would be pretty cool if we had more Deluxe plushies. It's cool that we got Shadow, and I'm happy we did, but I hope we can get the other characters someday and not just leave it at these guys, because I prefer the Deluxe plushies compared to the small ones, and I just hope Jax can do more.